companies need to go beyond competing. To seize new profit and growth opportunities, they also need to create blue oceans. Unfortunately, blue oceans are largely uncharted. The dominant focus of strategy work over the past 25 years has been on competition-based red ocean strategies. The result has been a fairly good understanding of how to compete skillfully in red waters, from analyzing the underlying economic structure of an existing industry to choosing a strategic position of low cost or differentiation or focus to benchmarking the competition. Some discussions around blue oceans exist. However, there is little practical guidance on how to create them. Without analytic frameworks to create blue oceans and principles to effectively manage risk, creating blue oceans has remained wishful thinking that is seen as too risky for managers to pursue as strategy. This book provides practical frameworks and analytics for the systematic pursuit and capture of blue oceans. The continuing creation of blue oceans. Although the term blue oceans is new, their existence is not. They are a feature of business life, past and present. Look back 100 years and ask yourself, how many of today's industries were then unknown? The answer: many industries as basic as automobiles, music recording, aviation, petrochemicals, healthcare, and management consulting were unheard of or had just begun to emerge at that time. Now turn the clock back only 30 years. Again, a plethora of multi-billion-dollar industries jumps out. Mutual funds, cell phones, gas-fired electricity plants, biotechnology, discount retail, express package delivery, minivans, snowboards, coffee bars, and home videos, to name a few. Just 3 decades ago, none of these industries existed in a meaningful way. Now, put the clock forward 20 years, or perhaps 50 years, and ask yourself how many now unknown industries will likely exist then. If history is any predictor of the future, again, the answer is many of them. The reality is that industries never stand still. They continuously evolve. Operations improve, markets expand, and players come and go. History teaches us that we have a hugely underestimated capacity to create new industries and recreate existing ones. In fact, the half-century-old Standard Industrial Classification, SIC system, published by the U.S. Census, was replaced in 1997 by the North American Industry Classification Standard, NAICS system. The new system expanded the 10 SIC industry sectors into 20 sectors to reflect the emerging realities of new industry territories. The services sector under the old system, for example, is now expanded into 7 business sectors ranging from information to healthcare and social assistance. Given that these systems are designed for standardization and continuity, such a replacement shows how significant the expansion of blue oceans has become. Yet the overriding focus of strategic thinking has been on competition-based red ocean strategies. Part of the explanation for this is that corporate strategy is heavily influenced by its roots in military strategy. The very language of strategy is deeply imbued with military references. Chief executive officers in headquarters, troops on the front lines. Described this way, strategy is about confronting an opponent and fighting over a given piece of land that is both limited and constant. Unlike war, however, the history of industry shows us that the market universe has never been constant. Rather, blue oceans have continuously been created over time. To focus on the red ocean is therefore to accept the key constraining factors of war, limited terrain, and the need to beat an enemy to succeed, and to deny the distinctive strength of the business world, the capacity to create new market space that is uncontested. The impact of creating blue oceans. We set out to quantify the impact of creating blue oceans on a company's growth in both revenues and profits in a study of the business launches of 108 companies. We found that 86% of the launches were line extensions, that is, incremental improvements within the red ocean of existing market space. Yet they accounted for only 62% of total revenues and a mere 39% of total profits. The remaining 14% of the launches were aimed at creating blue oceans. They generated 38% of total revenues and 61% of total profits. Given that business launches included the total investments made for creating red and blue oceans, regardless of their subsequent revenue and profit consequences, including failures, the performance benefits of creating blue waters are evident. Although we don't have data on the hit rate of success of red and blue ocean initiatives, the global performance differences between them are marked. The rising imperative of creating blue oceans. There are several driving forces behind a rising imperative to create blue oceans. Accelerated technological advances have substantially improved industrial productivity and have allowed suppliers to produce an unprecedented array of products and services. The result is that in increasing numbers of industries, supply exceeds demand. The trend toward globalization compounds the situation. As trade barriers between nations and regions are dismantled and as information on products and prices becomes instantly and globally available, niche markets and havens for monopoly continue to disappear. While supply is on the rise as global competition intensifies, there is no clear evidence of an increase in demand worldwide, and statistics even point to declining populations in many developed markets. The result has been accelerated commoditization of products and services, increasing price wars, and shrinking profit margins. Recent industry-wide studies on major American brands confirm this trend. They reveal that for major product and service categories, brands are generally becoming more similar, and as they are becoming more similar, people increasingly select based on price. People no longer insist, as in the past, that their laundry detergent be Tide, nor will they necessarily stick to Colgate when Crest is on sale, and vice versa. In overcrowded industries, differentiating brands becomes harder in both economic upturns and downturns. All this suggests that the business environment in which most strategy and management approaches of the 20th century evolved is increasingly disappearing. As red oceans become increasingly bloody, management will need to be more concerned with blue oceans than the current cohort of managers is accustomed to. From company and industry to strategic move. How can a company break out of the red ocean of bloody competition? How can it create a blue ocean? Is there a systematic approach to achieve this and thereby sustain high performance? In search of an answer, our initial step was to define the basic unit of analysis for our research. To understand the roots of high performance, the business literature typically uses the company as a basic unit of analysis. People have marveled at how companies attain strong, profitable growth with a distinguished set of strategic, operational, and organizational characteristics. Our question, however, was this: are there lasting, excellent, or visionary companies that continuously outperform the market and repeatedly create blue oceans? Consider, for example, In Search of Excellence and Built to Last. The best-selling book In Search of Excellence was published 20 years ago. Yet within 2 years of its publication, a number of the companies surveyed began to slip into oblivion. Atari, Cheesebro Ponds, Data General, Fluor, National Semiconductor. As documented in Managing on the Edge, 2/3 of the identified model firms in the book had fallen from their perches as industry leaders within 5 years of its publication. The book Built to Last continued in the same footsteps. It sought out the successful habits of visionary companies that had a long-running track record of superior performance. To avoid the pitfalls of In Search of Excellence, however, the survey period of Built to Last was expanded to the entire lifespan of the companies, while its analysis was limited to firms more than 40 years old. Built to Last also became a bestseller. But again, upon closer examination, deficiencies in some of the visionary companies spotlighted in Built to Last have come to light. As illustrated in the recent book Creative Destruction, much of the success attributed to some of the model companies in Built to Last was the result of industry sector performance rather than the companies themselves. For example, Hewlett-Packard, HP, met the criteria of Built to Last by outperforming the market over the long term. In reality, while HP outperformed the market, So did the entire computer hardware industry. What's more, HP did not even outperform the competition within the industry. Through this and other examples, creative destruction questioned whether visionary companies that continuously outperform the market have ever existed. And we all have seen the stagnating or declining performance of the Japanese companies that were celebrated as revolutionary strategists in their heyday of the late 1970s and early 1980s. If there is no perpetually high-performing company, and if the same company can be brilliant at one moment and wrong-headed at another, it appears that the company is not the appropriate unit of analysis in exploring the roots of high performance in blue oceans. As discussed earlier, history also shows that industries are constantly being created and expanded over time, and that industry conditions and boundaries are not given. Individual actors can shape them. Companies need not compete head-on in a given industry space. Cirque du Soleil created a new market space in the entertainment sector, generating strong, profitable growth as a result. It appears then that neither the company nor the industry is the best unit of analysis in studying the roots of profitable growth.